Hello, everyone. Welcome to New Gen Politics. So, Elizabeth Warren is now campaigning with Zohran Mamdani in New York. And this is a little bit of an important step for his candidacy because he's getting more validation from establishment Democrats. Now, Elizabeth Warren is on the further left side of that spectrum. He has gotten a lot of antagonization from other establishment Democrats, but the more legitimate support he gets from Congress members, the better chance he has of winning and the better chance he has of implementing his ideas. And Elizabeth Warren, in the clip I'm about to play, talks exactly about that. What is the future of the Democrat Party? And is this progressive socialism the answer?
When someone stands up and says, I will lead this city by making it more affordable, and here are my plans, real plans, plans to deliver on childcare, plans to deliver on housing, plans to deliver, we're going to experiment, we're going to try things on groceries. That is the Democratic message.
So this sounds great, right? Everybody wants to make things affordable. Everybody wants to lower the cost of living. But is this actually going to work? Are these policies potentially implemented in New York actually going to work? And then will this model be taken and shared countrywide? I don't think so, because I think this is going to be a failure based on the historical precedent that these socialist policies typically don't end very well. But regardless, this is a test. This is a test of the future of the Democrat Party and the Republican Party as well, being bystanders in this, but their success is contingent on the Democrat success as well. The two sides of the same coin. So regardless of what happens, people will use the phrase, do you want the country to look like New York in the 2028 presidential election? Whether that's a positive saying or whether that's a negative saying. And I'm not the only person who thinks this. Bill Maher this week on his show said something very, very similar.
New York is New York. It's definitely it's the media capital, the financial capital. It is a bellwether like no other city is in this country. So don't tell me that who the mayor of New York is doesn't matter.
Let me play devil's advocate for a second. Do you think, let's say, on the seize the means of production, do you think that the mayor, that one person, if he is a democratic socialist, do you think that he would have the power and influence to be able to usher in socialism?
He definitely has the power and influence to elect J.D. Vance or whoever is the Republican candidate next time. It is a walking commercial for the Republican Party nationally.
I think the Republicans are going to...
When you let the Democrat socialists, and now they're actually calling themselves socialists, when you let them take over a major American city, this is what you get. The state-run grocery stores, which work so well in Cuba and the Soviet Union and Venezuela, just bad ideas. And again, this ugly streak, streak of anti-Semitism.
Who's the most popular politician on the left?
AOC? I don't know.
One of, but who's Bernie? Bernie is Bernie.
Yeah.
Bernie is. I mean, he's not a capitalist.
No, he's not, and he's also not president.
He's not. But
never would be.
But neither is Mamdani.
No, but he will, trust me, he will be featured in the campaign commercials.
But they're going to feature people. They boogeyman everybody.
Yeah, but you don't have to boogeyman him. He does it to himself.
But they'll do it regardless. Nancy Pelosi, Hillary Clinton, Gavin Newsom.
Yeah, but
they make anybody into boogeyman.
It has.
I think it was
just have more weight when it's real. I mean, when you can really show it.
So yes, if these policies are implemented and Elizabeth Warren gets her dream of having Zohran in office, and this progressivism pushed on the New Yorkers and then theoretically used as the model nationwide, if this happens and it's a complete failure, J.D. Vance, as the current frontrunner, will win the election because everybody will point and say, do you want the country to look like New York? And the Democrats at the moment, not necessarily the establishment, but the people, are kind of throwing their eggs in the Zohran basket. They're kind of saying, okay, this is the direction we want to go. We want things to be more affordable. We don't care how it happens. We want the socialism. If that fails, they have no backup plan. There's no alternative. And there's not really a suitable candidate that can take over and contest that. And the Democrats' whole thing has been unity. They are really, really, really good at being lockstep as a party. The Republicans are really bad at that. Now, I think there's benefits to both and detriments to both. One of the benefits to not doing that is the Republicans kick out members who do a bad job, right? Over time, there's a progressive culling of rhinos, of neocons. That's been a good thing. But at the same time, every time there's any small contentious issue, the Republicans freak out and they fight about it to the death. And the Democrats, it's just like the memo comes top down and they say, you're going to do this. And they all vote the same way. They all say the same thing on the news. They repeat the same talking points. That's great. They're in lockstep. But the problem is they don't have that internal ability, the friction to see members who are not effective and then kick them out. And so I think we've gotten to the point where the Democrats have been so lockstep and the issues have been boiling up more and more. The party's been fracturing, splitting apart more and more, but they all have been sticking together that after the fail of 2024, and especially if they don't win these midterms, then they're going to go in 2028 with a big, basically, internal civil war, because both sides are going to be fighting and saying, the reason we lost is your side. The standard run-of-the-mill Democrats, the establishment, they'll say, the far leftists, you're the reason we lost. And then vice versa. The far left will say, you guys aren't taking it far enough. You're not doing what you said you would do. You always talk about making things affordable, but you don't actually implement it or have a plan. We need radical action. And so they're going to have this big civil war if Mamdani goes in, if he, implements these policies, if they don't work, if they lose the midterms, the Democrats will be set up for failure, and they will be going through the same thing that the Republicans are going through right now, where there's this internal strife. They're constantly fighting and trying to overthrow each other. A lot of the political speakers are falling out of favor with the public. The ideology is fracturing on what it means to be America first, truly, or what it means to be conservative. Right now, we have Trump to basically oversee all that fighting and still say, okay, that's cool, that's cute, that's happening under my wings, but I'm still in charge, right? When Trump is no longer in charge, I think that's going to pick up even more on the Republican side, but at least they'll have had years of infighting to figure out where they want to go, and the people are getting a better idea of where they want to go. The Democrats haven't really had that. They're all lockstep, and that works until it doesn't, and then everything just like totally collapses. Right, everything totally falls apart. I think that's probably the most likely scenario, because I don't think this is going to do wonders for them in 2028. I think the policies will get implemented. New York will be even worse off in 4 years. And the Republicans will take that, like Bill Maher said, and say, do you want the country to look like New York? And they'll show a bunch of videos of it. And it'll look like San Francisco does now, or LA does now. And you'd say, no, I don't want the country to look like New York. And if that's the remnants, right? If that's the way the Democrat Party is, if that's the part of the party that wins over the next 4 years is the far leftist part, then it's going to be even harder for Democrats to win, because they can't run an establishment candidate and say, well, we're not like Mamdani. We don't want to be like Mamdani. We don't want to be like New York. We don't want to be like San Francisco or LA. The problem is they don't really have a candidate who can do that, because Gavin Newsom is responsible for everything that's happening in California. AOC is super far to the left. Buttigieg is pretty far to the left. They don't really have a good candidate, in my opinion, who doesn't have the baggage of the far leftist stuff that it seems the average person wants to get away from. So we'll just have to see how this affects the future of both parties and the future of politics in this country. It may seem like a small issue. It may seem like an issue people are beating to death, the Zohran thing. Like, who cares? It's just the mayor of New York. Well, it's, like Bill Maher said, New York is a big social, financial, media hub. It's a representation for the rest of the country, especially a certain aisle of the country. So keeping your eyes on that and seeing what they do is reflective of kind of the general consensus of that side of the aisle. And it can also represent what's happening conversely with the rest of the country, how they feel about what's happening there. It's, New York is a place everybody looks to, whether they like it or not, whether they want to be there or not. You can't take your eyes off it. You have to, pay attention to what's happening in New York, because that's one of the hearts of America. It's a representation of America. So this is going to determine the future of this country, I think. I think that's not an understatement. I think people are not actually blowing it out of proportions when they talk about this. And it's more of, right now, is this the decision that determines everything? No. But is this something that will snowball and, cause a, chain reaction that leads to severe consequences in the future? Absolutely. I think definitely, especially in this time of prominent ideological shakeup on both sides of the aisle. I think any major shakeup in the traditional ideology, any person who is saying, I want the more radical element, if they get into office in a place like the mayor of New York, which is a pretty, prestigious position, it's a position everybody pays attention to, that could definitely impact things. So that's my thoughts on this. If you made it all the way through the video, I appreciate it. If you like the content, like, share, subscribe. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. And thank you for watching.